humans, it's just Martine, and welcome to my vlog for the Squash That Series Readathon Weekend Edition. This is a readathon that's hosted by Kayla from Kayla Ray Reads and Bailey from Is Bailey Reading. Two of my favorite humans. I love them. Check out their channels, definitely. I'll have them linked down below. And so I'm gonna be doing this thing this weekend. I participated in the 2-week readathon back in, was it August that it was in? I think so. And I did vlogs for that. So check them out if you haven't already. But I'm super excited for this weekend edition because it happens to fall on a weekend that I can actually read during, which is not always the case. I'm going to be hitting 2 books to get a bingo one of 3 ways with this bingo board. So I'm going to be reading Isn't It Romantic by Alyssa K. Adams, I think, and then Neanderthal Marries Human. Isn't It Romantic is currently the last book in a series, is published in 2021. That's true. And so even with that book, I can technically get a bingo because I hit this square and this square and then a free space. Boom, bingo. But what I'm actually aiming for is either this row or this row. Because with Neanderthal Marries Human, I could either go this row or this row, wherein Neanderthal Marries Human could count for a novella and a second book in a series, and then Isn't It Romantic would be published in 2021. Or I could do it where Neanderthal Marries Human is a novella, and in the series most recently started, and then Isn't It Romantic is the last book in a series. No matter what happens, I'm getting a bingo this weekend. That's the goal. It's currently Thursday night, starts on Friday. I'll see you then. Good morning, it's Friday morning. Time to squash that series. It's 10:41, and before I leave for lunch, I wanted to catch you up on how it's been going. I've basically just been reading all morning. When 9 a.m. hit, I put my headphones in and I didn't take them out since. And I was listening to Isn't It Romantic on 3 times the speed, especially with this narrator, I totally can. And I was doing things around the room, putting some dishes away, getting ready for the day, packing my backpack, writing out some notes for a future video. So lots of stuff happening, and then just like pacing around my room as I'm apt to do while I'm listening to audiobooks. And I'm now officially 52% of the way through the book and loving it so far. I love this series so much. Like, I don't think I've ever rated one of them lower than 4 stars. It's just such a fun concept for a book series, and I love that it's continued. And even though I'm reading this to fulfill the prompt, like last book in a series, I'm hoping it's not actually gonna be the last book in the series. It just is for now because I want more. And this one follows the Russian, who's like one of my favorite characters. He's so funny and sweet. And so this is a marriage of convenience book. That's the trope that this one is about. And Vlad, the main character, is also writing a romance novel, and all the guys in the bromance book club are giving their input on the romance novel. And it's just, I cannot overemphasize how much fun I'm having. The secret underground cheese, it's so ridiculous. And I love that. So halfway done with the first book of the 2 that I'm reading for this weekend, which for Friday morning is an incredible start. I just finished Isn't It Romantic? It's almost 4:30. On my way back from class, I was listening to it. I kept listening to it until I finished. In total, it took me like a little over 3 hours to read this book, and it was incredible. I gave it 5 stars, and the Russian has always been one of my favorite characters from the series, and to see his love story was just so good. I love that this series also, it like mixes these really good and cute romances and really fun characters who I love, and really cheesy things happening with like, there's always something really serious and good happening in the books. Like this one, the serious part 1, the main male character, he's a hockey player, like professionally, and he had a really huge injury, so that was big for him. And then the female main character, she was trying to do some like journalistic reporting to figure out how her dad died when he was a reporter in Russia. So there were like stakes there, and I just love this series. Yes, I was smiling the whole time, and like usually I have trouble paying attention to audiobooks, but like I got the entire thing. I was in it. So technically with just this book, I can get a bingo. So I technically finished the challenge, but I'm still going to read Neanderthal Marries Human. I started that before my class because I have the ebook, and I think I mentioned that it's a lot longer than I was anticipating, so I got like 3% of the way into it, but we'll read some more of that tonight and see where we end up. Okay, so I'm reading Neanderthal Marries Human, and you'll see in a future video my reaction to the first book, right? But this follows these same characters. And now I'm 14% of the way through it, and I've said, I hate that at least 3 times out loud, and she better not a few more, because this is getting absolutely ridiculous. There were some things about the first book that were kind of ridiculous, but this is a new level of insanity. For instance, they're in this really famous like museum in London, and you can tell that like the guy is preparing to propose to her, and you're like, that's fine, you got her a private tour of this place, that could be a fun place to get engaged. However, they end up in a room that she's the most excited to look at because she's like really nerdy, and it has all these like ancient torture devices, and so it has like a rack, and she's like, tie me to this, just because she's curious what it feels like. And I'm already like, this is going to end poorly, and I know it, right? So he does. Inside, I'm already like, I hate this. Like, I already said it. I was like, I hate this. And then he starts acting weird in the way of like, I'm about to pull out a ring kind of way. And I was like, you better not. If you do that, if you, in this moment, in this circumstance, if this is where I will not be able, like, not be able to handle that. I hate that. I hate that. And then he did it. He pulled out a ring. He's like, will you make me the hat? And she was still tied to this thing. And I was like, no, absolutely not. And then they're discussing it. She's a mathematician. In her head, she's like, I wanted us to wait like 2.4 years, whatever. So he's like, I want to marry you next week. And she hasn't even said yes to the engagement yet. He's like, I want to marry you next week when we get home. And she's like, no. And he's like, okay, what will it take for you to marry me? And she says, well, first I want us to wait 2.4 years. And he says, no, I will not negotiate on that. They finally got it up to like 3 months, but it's still literally ridiculous. They've been dating for 5 months now. He proposes in this really weird way. Oh, and the worst part is when he was about to propose to her, he said, I was going to ask you this later once you were drunk. And I was like, homeboy, what? You were going to wait until she was a little bit drunk to propose to her? What's wrong with you? And I get it. She's a very avoidant personality type. But the fact that you have to either have her tied up, because he was like, but this will work because you can't run away. And I was like, what? The fact that you either have to get her drunk or tie her up to think that she might say yes to you. I don't know, homeboy, like, I'm stressed. I don't think I'm gonna DNF this book. I'm already 14% of the way in, which is not that far, but I hate DNFing books like so much. It's so ridiculous to the point that like, I'm kind of enjoying myself because I have no idea what's going to happen next, right? Like, I'm viscerally disliking everything that's happening, but I'm like, who's to say what's gonna happen next? So I'm gonna keep forging on for now, but I just had to talk to somebody about it because it's like, really? I hated it. At the 40% mark of Neanderthal Marries Human, it's better than the beginning was. Less weird. Still not my favorite thing ever, but not nearly as repulsive as the first 15% was. So making good progress. I took a few hours off of reading last night to hang out with some friends. Then I read for like an hour when I got back. I'm at 65% of Neanderthal Marries Human. I just woke up. It's like 7:52 and I'm gonna sit in bed and read. It's almost 9:30 and I just finished Neanderthal Marries Human and I'm giving it 2.5 out of 5 stars. Not gonna lie, the first 15% of this for me dropped the rating so much. It continued to be ridiculous after, but not nearly as ridiculous. Like, crazy stuff happened during like the bachelorette party. The first 15% was just way too much for me, and the couple like calmed down after. I don't know, this specific pairing of main characters is like hard for me to get my head around for a lot of reasons, but it's mainly just the like the male main character that makes me feel like weird. And I think in the beginning there was like no build up to get used to him again like there was in the first book. So he was just like really grumpy and controlling, it seemed, out of the gate, and it was a really uncomfortable like transition. Once I got used to him again, I was like more fine with him. He's a very specific type of male character, and like not my favorite kind by a long shot, but I was like used to him by the end. And I think over the course of the book, he like mellowed out quite a bit, and their relationship mellowed out quite a bit in like a good way. They still did crazy stuff way too often, but like it did mellow out. I love the friend group in this series. I want to read the like other books that follow different characters, especially because I think the official second book in this series follows my favorite character of the friend group, Elizabeth, and I want to read her story. I think we got spoiled for it in this one, but that's fine. But yeah, so that I read for like a bunch of prompts, whether it was like novella, even though it was not short, but it was a 1.5 series, most recently started, second book in a series, even though it's like 1.5, I count that. I've officially finished my like intentional TBR for this, which is cool because it's only 9:30 on Saturday morning. But I'm also filming another vlog at the same time with this, which is really speeding up my reading, so that's why you'll see that soon. I'm going to continue like sprinting and hanging out with the people that are doing Squash That series for the rest of the day, but I'm going to end this vlog here because it's the actual Squash That series challenge. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and comment down below what series are you in the middle of that you want to continue next, and subscribe for more reading, writing, and college lifestyle content. And until next time, bye humans, bye!